Hello.
Lee, what's up, man? How are
What's
you?
up, man? How are you?
I am good. I appreciate you taking a couple of minutes. I know you guys are perpetually on the road, so I assume you're on the road right now.
Yes, I literally have my seatbelt on because we're getting ready to head to the venue to start loading in. So it's been a, a little crazy.
I was going to ask, do you know where you are right now? Because following your sort of trajectory the past year or so, it feels like you guys have been crisscrossing the country and the planet for what feels like the last year and a half.
No, it literally has been. No, we're in Milwaukee. We're playing at the Rave tonight, so one of those legendary spots. So we're very excited.
And I'm sure that playing all these gigs, I'm sure it's exhausting. I'm sure you guys are always tired, but it also has to be rewarding to have. I mean, after having the number one song and soon to be a second number one song and playing gigs with Five Finger and Manson, and it has to be awesome to yes be out playing all these shows, but then to see your fan base growing with every show.
Yeah, I think that's kind of to actually see the reward is the best part, right? Like this is again, it's there's like a TikTok trend going on right now of like, this is why we do it, or this is what it's about, or whatever it is, and it's like that's why, like this, it's to see these people and what the music means so much to them and what it's about. It's so cool to just go out on stage and play these shows, especially like right now we're on tour with Ice on Kills, right? And like every single night the crowd is screaming every single song, to this 30-minute set. It's weird. Because last year was okay, well, they knew the words to Suffocate City, right? Okay, that's fine. Now it's the whole set they know all about.
It's not just the set, but you've got fans that have like your face tattooed on them. Like that's incredible.
Yeah, I feel bad for them if I ever change my green hair.
I can make changes, right? You can change.
Yeah.
We'll talk more shows coming up because you guys are going to be in Grand Rapids for Upheaval coming up here this summer. Just one of the many shows that you guys are playing. But first things first, I want to talk music. Obviously, you guys get sort of the new band moniker because a lot of people are just learning of you right now. But this isn't, the funeral portrait is not new. You guys have been at this for a decade plus,
Yes.
crisscrossing the country. And even though Greetings from Suffocate City was released just last year, that's an album that's been in the works. I mean, that was one that, I mean, it's what, 5 years old at this point.
5 years old. Yeah, exactly. Like that's the crazy part. It's like, we're ready to go to the next record. It's not going to be that simple and that easy. But for me, I think we've been working so hard for this that it's like, yeah, it took us 10 years to be an overnight success.
Yeah, and now look at you. In June, you're going to release the deluxe edition of Greetings from Suffocate City, which is, I mean, a lot of bands will do deluxe editions now, but I feel like for a band to have this early success like you are, to get to do this, to get to put out another version with songs that are not 5 years old, songs that you just recorded this year and different versions of it, has got to be exciting.
Yeah, that's the cool part. Like, we just released Skinny Lies, which is like a song we wrote in December, recorded it in January, like, and now it's out like so fast, where there's songs on the record that are 5 years. It took 5 years to get them out. And so it's cool to be able to do something a little different too, and not just release a deluxe edition that has like a B side and like, or like some of these guys, they'll release a deluxe edition and it's like an alternative version and that's it. For us, we've got like four brand new songs, a live song, a redid version of Stay Weird, and then like I don't even know. There's like new features, like featuring Ivan from Five Finger, and stuff like that. So it's so cool to have like these new versions. It's almost like a whole new record.
Right, and when you're waiting to make that next record, to have these new versions to sort of placate fans for even a little bit longer while you work on the new stuff, because I'm sure they're all clamoring like, when are we going to get those fans that have been with you guys for the duration? They want new stuff, and you can't give that to them yet.
Yeah, and that's what this is about, right? And that's why we wanted to do like Skinny Lies and Evergreen, which are the two new songs, because we wanted to uh, show them that we are moving forward and that we're working on new stuff, and this is kind of the vibe of it, and not saying that that's what the record will sound like, but that's this is more what it is, and it seems to be working. Kids are loving Skinny Lies. They're so upset that we're not playing it live on this tour. And we well, again, we didn't even know, we like cold dropped it. We didn't do any promo for it. We just dropped it, and then we posted something. It was like, boom, it's out now. And now it's like, it's literally like in our top 5 on like Spotify, which is like huge. Like that takes bands that release songs, and it takes them like months to get their songs moved up that far.
Do you feel an obligation at some point with the with how well the song is doing to like squeak it into a set list at some point?
Yeah, it's so funny. I started working on, because there's a lot of moving parts. We can't just go and just like add it to the set, because we've just never practiced it. The way that we record is it's kind of separate, right? Like we do the guitars first, and then the bass, and then all to MIDI drums, and then we go replace, or then we do all the vocals, and then at the very end you replace all the MIDI drums with the live drums. Homer then goes in the studio and tracks them, and so the idea of, we've never sat in a room and played it all together, once. So, and we're kind of supporting a lot on this tour. So there's not enough time for a sound check to practice either. So it's been nonstop. So I want to, I think more in the summer we'll be able to add it in.
Yeah, and you've got a bunch of shows scheduled for this summer, so you'll have time. And there are, I mean, I know we talked about you guys being on the road constantly, but you do have a couple of breaks in here where you guys can sort of work on that stuff.
Just a few, especially about what we're about to announce. So we're about to announce our fall, which is about to be even crazier. So
You mentioned a minute ago Holy Water with Ivan Moody, and you guys toured with Five Finger last summer with them and Manson and Slaughter to Prevail. When did you guys, was it on that tour that you started talking about the potential to get Ivan on the Holy Water track?
yeah, it was kind of funny. We were supposed to try and get him on the track before the tour, and that was kind of like a deal with like Live Nation really wanted it to happen to promote the tour. Our label, because we're on the same label as Five Finger, it was one of those like talked about things, but there was just no way to make it happen, because they literally flew from Europe straight to the US dates. I think they had literally 3 days off, and it's like, you don't expect this guy to do this, really, right? And he was just like, and he's also one of those guys that he just doesn't do things just do it, right? Like he wants it to mean something. And so after the tour, he reached out to us in January, actually, and he was like, listen, I really want to do this. Like, I loved your band, I loved working with you guys, I love what you guys stand for, all these things. Like, I think this would be great. And it just so happened to happen and be released in like 2 weeks. It was a crazy bit.
And I don't know if people understand just how big having a feature like Ivan Moody or Spencer from Ice Nine Kills, I don't think people understand the work that goes into doing this, something like this, but also how big it is for your band to get an Ivan Moody. How many number ones has that dude had? That dude's known the world over. To have him jumping on your song is massive.
Yeah, and I think he's only done one other feature before. Like, I don't think he's ever really featured. And so it's one of those things that was a big moment, and his fans are so nice to us. And, it's been incredible, and, we stand for a lot of the same stuff, and I think it's really cool to have us work together on a song and just be able to do this, and it was a wild moment, and it has been, and he's in the music video too. And that's even more crazy.
Yeah, it's pretty insane to get him on it, but then you also have you have Bert from The Used on a track, and you have Danny from Asking Alexandria. And when I think about you guys, having the success you're seeing right now and having these guests, I wonder, once you are finally able to sit down and work on that next album, like, how do you top it? What do you do? Like, what's next? I mean, getting Ivan on a song, first major release is big.
Yeah, I don't know if we want to fully sit back and let I think features for the next record maybe will come in the form of songwriting, rather than, or like ideas or something like that, rather than in the idea of like a full-on feature, right? Like, again, we've talked about it multiple times. Our dream person to work with is Danny Elfman, and he's a composer, really, like, yeah, he's got his own music and he does his own thing, and he was in Oingo Boingo and all that stuff, but like, I think even just having him help shape a song or the record or strings or something, the arrangement would be cool. I think that's more what we want to lean towards for the next record. And it's let the Funeral Portrait stand on its own fully on the next one.
Yeah, I was going to ask. I mean, what you don't want to have happen is people think that the funeral portrait needs help to get to
Yeah.
these levels.
Well,
Like you want to show them you can do it on your own too.
of course, and because we know that we can, right? And especially after this record, that's what this record was about. This record was about having the help and getting to this step, and then hey, we got it from here.
Do you have anything? Have you started any writing? Anything for the next album?
Yeah, there is some writing. I know Caleb, our guitarist. He's been writing a bunch, and I know Cody, our guitarist as well. Cody focuses a lot more on riffs, and it's sick. It's like Skinny Lies. That's all. That's all Cody riffs, and it's sick to actually hear these guys play these songs and write these songs with us, and all together, which is sick because during COVID, it was written in pieces all across the country because of Zoom, and because of again COVID, we couldn't be together. So it's cool to be together again and start writing, and we've got one song that I really think we technically I guess have two. One is like really done, like we could release it tomorrow, and it could just come out, and it's probably my favorite funeral portrait song we've ever done.
Well, that's quite the tease, as they say in the radio industry.
Yeah, now you got to wait 5 years. Don't worry.
Dude, I don't know. I don't know if you see the gray in my beard, man. I don't have 5 years. All right, so we got the deluxe edition coming out in June, and you guys are working on new music. Let's talk about touring. And we started this conversation by talking about just you guys have been every tour. You're jumping from one tour to you're playing a few shows with the Used to now you're opening for Under Oath. Now you're on tour with Ice Nine. You're playing Sonic Temple tomorrow. You guys have literally. It feels like, and I know it's not true. It's an exaggeration. It feels like you've shared the stage with everybody at this point.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of true. I think there's definitely some bands on our list because, like, even at the end of the tour, we fly to Download and we get to, we're playing the same day as Sleep Token, and it's like, and that's going to be crazy because they're headlining Download. And that was a big topic, that of, do they deserve that? Are they as big as Green Day, who's headlining the day before? And it's like, I think so. I think they are, again, that band, it's super funny. We were doing an interview yesterday or the day before, and Caleb was talking about this. Like, this band is on everybody's lips. It's the name that's on everybody's lips. They were on the cover of the biggest playlist in the world this morning, and they're going to be on everything. They are getting everything. They're doing everything the right way. And it's one of those things for us, like, I think getting our name talked about from bands that we grew up, like Chris Daughtry and stuff, like, has reached out to me, and Brent from Shinedown, and then of course Bert, and Spencer and Ivan and all these people being like, I like your band, or come on tour with us, or whatever it is. It's like, it's kind of insane to even think about where we were a year and a half ago, or even a year ago to now. I never thought any of that would happen.
And you need bands like the Funeral Portrait. You need bands like Sleep Token to kind of take over those headlining slots, because otherwise it's this. I mean, I've talked about this in festivals in the past. There's a certain level of band that headlines every single festival, and at some point you need somebody else like a Bad Omens or a Bring Me the Horizon or a Sleep Token or the Funeral Portrait to come over and take that over, or else people are going to go, we just saw them headline. We just saw, what I mean? You need these things to happen.
Well, and I think that's the point too. Is I think it's so cool to see rock radio, especially, welcome new bands. Because I think for a very, very long time, it was really hard. It was really hard to break a new band, right? And it still is. Don't get me wrong. It's still hard, but I think for us, it is really cool that we get to release a song like Suffocate City and it gets played on the radio. That's not really typical radio material. It's a little bit more Whoop Tour, as you would say. As the execs would call it. But that's what's in right now. That's what rock listeners want. That's what music listeners want. That's what they like. They like a little bit of nostalgia in their music, to bring them back. And the new kids are loving it. The new kids are loving 3 Days Grace again. They're loving Korn. They're loving Deftones. They're a Perfect Circle or whoever it is. Like, you go to Hot Topic and it's literally filled with all of the new classic rock bands of Korn, of Evanescence, of Linkin Park. That is our now classic rock.
Yeah, when you think about like a When We Were Young festival, when they announced that, people went absolutely insane. Like my girlfriend doesn't ask me for anything in radio ever. She doesn't care about what I do. But when that was announced, it was like, we're going, we're gonna go, we have to go because you're exactly right.
Yep. And that's what it is though. And that's nostalgia's huge. But in that, and we hit a little bit on that, but I think for us we want to twist it a little bit, right? Because it has to be new-ish. So that's what we do, is we take the vibes maybe of the mid 2000s, emo active rock kind of stuff, the Vinge to the Shinedown vibes, and then we just modernize it.
When you have the chance to go on these tours with these bands that have been doing it for so long, and you have the chance to watch a Five Finger Night In and Night Out or Ice Nine Kills, or you play a few shows with Under Oath, how much time do you spend watching their sets, watching what they do, how they interact with fans, and sort of try to replicate that in your own world?
A lot. I think we all learned so much on that Five Finger tour. That was so eye-opening. We were doing so much of it already, but now it's like it's just doubling down. I think that's what it is, and in the way like Ivan and the way Manson and the way even Alex, from Slaughter, like the way they can control a crowd is insane, and that's something that I was like, okay, it's my turn. It's my turn to really, really step up. And I have, and I think we all have as a band. I would never want to replace a single person in this band and this crew and anything, because this is what we do, and we get out there and we crush it night after night after night.
And along with crushing it night in and night out and getting out and playing all these shows, there are some things that change as you guys grow bigger. One of those things that changed recently is just sort of fan interaction. You posted this on Facebook the other day. Somebody trying to actually getting onto your RV,
Yeah,
which I assume as a band that travels a lot,
crazy person.
you've had happen ever.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's wild because we've had weird fan interactions before, like people trying to kiss me or people trying to like touch like Cody's butt and stuff like that. I mean, there's been moments, right? There's been moments of just like weird people being weird, but this one was like ultimately like just like, hey, that's just not cool. Like we're literally getting ready to leave, and this person comes up, is about to like knock on the door, like, and Danny, who's like our merch girl, she does makeup, she does a little bit of everything. She opens the door, she says, no, we don't do that. Like, and kind of goes off on her. And I'm just like, I literally lock myself in the bathroom because I think this person's like crazy, because they've been like asking to see me for the last two shows. So we'll see tonight. They're supposed to be at the show tonight too. So we'll see if security gets called a little early tonight. So
Do you have like a photo you can put at like the front, like at
I
the
know, like, do not let this person in. I think they're harmless. I
right?
think they just think that I think that they think something that is not real in their brain, and that's, and it's sad to think about, but I think, it's one of those things that it's like, and I'm down to talk and I'm down to hang. Just don't be weird. And that's what it is. It's like, don't be extra weird. Cause I'm down to be weird, but like, don't be like extra weird. Don't touch me. Don't like be like, oh, we're supposed to go on a date. No, we're not, my friend. I can promise you we're really not.
Yeah, I saw that, and I see how great you are with fans and taking photos and talking to everybody and allowing fans to propose to their girlfriends or what, like all that stuff you guys are willing to do. So to see that that's where we're at now, man, that's
It's crazy. It's getting closer and closer to me not being able to do what I love to do, and that is meeting everybody, because I love doing that, because those are the moments I grew up, all of us grew up, going to the merch table, seeing the band there and meeting them, or seeing them by their RV or their bus or their van or whatever it is, or standing in line at Warped Tour to do the meet and greets or whatever, that's what it is. And, the more and more this is happening, it's like, okay, like, don't get me wrong. We were weird and crazy back in the day, but we wouldn't cross a line. I never heard horror stories of what happens now to artists, and that's why bands like Bad Omens and all these other bands just like, they stop doing social media altogether because they just don't want to deal with it anymore.
Yeah, and you have not. I mean, you are very active on social media. So active, in fact, that when I look at you and Wolfgang Van Halen are two solid follows in terms of just calling out the trolls and
Yeah.
not allowing the people to say whatever they feel they have to say because they have a pathway to you. Because you've taken these negative troll comments and you've turned them on their heads and turned it into like a badge of honor.
Yes.
Wolfie does his own thing. He will just dress these people down, but you will
Oh, I
take it.
see.
Yeah, you will.
Yeah, I mean,
You'll
I've made
take
a
it and make it a whole
t-shirt.
thing.
I've made a t-shirt before someone's negative comment, and
Right.
we've raised, but that was literally we've raised money for a charity off of a negative comment T-shirt, you know, and I want to do it again. You know, I think that that's where this zesty thing came from, and we even did this like hometown show last year, and we filmed it, and we did a live DVD and a record, and in it, right. Like in during the encore, people are screaming the word like zesty, zesty. I mean, that's how much of like a bit it became, you know. And I love it. That's what it's about. It's about taking those negative comments and that negative hate and just turning it positively around, you know. And I think people love that, you know. And so I do it. I do it often, you know. I do it often enough, you know. Especially the ones that are just like, "What? Why did you just say that? That's weird."
Yeah, right. Yeah, it's I imagine you have to have when you're a public facing person and you're the face of the band, so to speak. It's you got to have thick skin because I'm sure that you guys just get bombarded with stuff, positive and negative. The positive
Yeah,
lifts you up, and then you have some prick in the comments that's saying the complete opposite.
it's wild because you know we're very lucky that the positive is insanely outweighs the negative. The negative is very, very rare nowadays, you know, and I'm in for that, you know. And I don't read everything. Excuse me, I don't read everything nowadays. It's when someone brings something to my attention that I'm like, oh, this is funny.
Well, listen, man, we're excited to have you back in Michigan at a People Festival in Grand Rapids coming up this summer. You guys are obviously, you already talked about announcing more shows. You're going overseas. You're doing tours over there. There's so much happening in the world of the funeral portrait, and it's exciting to see you guys grow, and exciting to hear new music from you guys. For the fans that have been waiting and waiting and waiting, the deluxe edition comes out here soon, and new music on the horizon. Last question, and I'm gonna not be the Buc-ee's guy because I've watched plenty of interviews where people ask you about Buc-ee's.
Yeah,
Since you tour so much and you've gone to so many different locales, Buc-ee's is number one. When you're talking like gas station, convenience
gas station.
store,
Yeah, 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 yeah.
what's number two?
For like gas stations.
Just while you're on the road, man, what's your
Anything on the
second
road.
stop?
We all get kind of excited. Again, this is a there's a few places we like to eat. Like here in like Wisconsin, there's a place called Topper's Pizza.
Oh, right.
It's like a fast chain, you know, that's just like pizza, but everyone likes it because everyone can get what they want, right? Like you get like tater tots on a pizza, right? Like, and they make like keto crust, like all these things. Like there's certain things that you can get. So we really enjoy anytime that we're in like a special place, you know, of course, like In and Out or stuff like that. But you know, again, at another gas station, we love like Quick Trip QT. We have a lot of them in Atlanta, which is great. So like for us, it's a little bit of slice of home sometimes. Of That's like our place that we always go in the morning or in the afternoon, anyway. So it's cool to see. We all kind of get excited anytime we see something that kind of represents the area that we're in. We look forward to.
Well, hopefully, when you're in Michigan, you'll find a spot that you'll make your own here in the Murder Mitten.
Yes, we definitely will.
Excited to see you in Grand Rapids this summer, man. Thanks for taking some time. Have a great show in Milwaukee and in Sonic Temple tomorrow, and we'll talk again soon. All right.
Thanks, my man. See you
Cool.
soon.
Awesome. See you, dude.